Thank you. Good afternoon. I was given the impossible task of giving a brief comment on the covenant design, the work of the covenant design group. We were commissioned by the Archbishop of Canterbury in response to a recommendation from the Windsor Report that was issued in 2004 to examine and make proposals about an Anglican covenant. The context of the mandate was the existing situation in the Anglican Communion, in which there is some dispute and some fragmentation that is going on. And we set about our task to produce a mechanism that is badly needed in Anglicanism, because to date we have no mechanism for solving our problems. The only process we have utilized so far is holding meetings. And Desmond Tutu once said that one consistent aspect of Anglicanism is that we meet. So we meet and we meet and we meet. But we have no legal framework, no magisterium that says, you had your discussion, this is it. It is against that context that we began our work, but we did not even think about going a legalistic or a contract route. What we sought to do was, first of all, to find a mechanism that would redefine the basic tenets of Anglicanism and call the members of the communion across the world to rally around who we are and what we stand for. So we have three sections. One, the first, our introduction deals with the theology of being in communion. This is the theology that is expounded by the Windsor Report, which recommended the future for Anglicanism as finding autonomy in communion. The communion is made up of 38 independent provinces, and each province is autonomous. And we had to find a way of respecting and maintaining the autonomy of each church, but at the same time providing a breadth and a scope for communion. That is how we interrelate, respecting and retaining our autonomy, but also respecting our communion and seeking to act in such a way that will hold the two together, that we will not seek to act that would destroy the communion or the unity that is a gift to us from God. So autonomy in communion meant searching for the deep roots of Anglicanism. And so section 1 deals with our inherited faith, the faith that we share, which we emphasize the common faith. And then we say, in the light of the common faith we hold, we should be able to make these commitments to work together and hold together. We look then in the next section at our common mission, the mission given to us by God, how we can embrace that and engage in it. And then thirdly, we look at the consequences and the commitments that flow out of working together. Now, we believe that what we have produced does enable Anglicans across the communion to revisit the tenets of Anglicanism, to say, is this the faith that we have been taught? Is this the faith that we possess? So that Anglicans would be assisted in this business of self-understanding and the self-description of Anglicanism for Anglicans, but will also help us in our ecumenical relations, because I chair the Inter-Anglican Standing Commission on Ecumenical Relations. And so very often in our work, our ecumenical partners say to us, who are the Anglicans? Because we have one type that say this, another type say this. So we will help our ecumenical partners if we can state clearly and simply and unequivocally who we are as Anglicans. Now, I believe that we have done a fairly good job in detailing the heart of Anglicanism, our common faith that we received from the biblical tradition, the early church, the fathers, and our inheritance from the Reformation period. Anglicanism is Reformed Catholicism, and we have sought to retain and emphasize that in our document. Our overall aim is to work towards holding the Anglican communion together, not inventing something new, but simply providing a mechanism that brings us back to the center of who we are and what we believe, and to renew our commitment to journey forward together. And I want to close by saying we did not attempt at any of our sessions to produce a document that would deal with the present issues before the communion. Our document is future directed. This is how the communion should deal with events as they unfold in the future. That is, draw people back to the common faith, the common mission, and the common commitments that are inherent in Anglicanism. We believe that that is the way forward for our communion, and so far, as Bishop Philip said, in the group of which I'm a member, there seems to be a general consensus about the way forward for a covenant, but the argument now is about the details, looking at the actual text and suggesting ways of improving the text. And the committee that I chair has planned to meet at the end of September, when we will review the responses from the bishops at this conference and take them on board and re-examine our texts. But we will wait until April of next year, because the provinces of the communion have been asked to send in their comments as provinces by March. So the committee will meet in April in London, when we will produce the third text, or the third draft, to be sent to the Anglican Consultative Council, which meets in Jamaica in the West Indies in May. So our process here at Lambeth is seeking the comments of the Bishop Assemble and seeking for a steer, giving a kind of direction for the work of the design group, taking those suggestions on board, wait for the province's comments, and then do a third draft, which will be an attempt to respond to what the bishops have said, but also what the provinces have said. So we have a document that does not reflect simply the views and opinions of the members of the design group, but reflects the suggestions and comments that have come from the whole province. So it will become a communion document, and in a very real sense, produced by the input from the various strata of the communion. Thank you.